Fast food places have completely lost their mind. Many of them are now more expensive than sit-down restaurants.
A mass extinction is quietly unfolding on the streets of America, and the victims are restaurant chains that used to be packed with customers. This is not just inflation or a rough stretch for business. Prices are going up, portions are getting smaller, quality is slipping, and after being disappointed too many times, customers are responding in the harshest way possible. They are not coming back. So what made names that once seemed impossible to replace start getting left behind? And if the problem is only money, why are customers still willing to spend somewhere else? Today, come with me as we look at 8 famous restaurant chains that are starting to crack in 2026. And stay until the final name, because what is happening to this brand could mark the end of an entire era of dining in America. Out of the 8 names coming up, let us see how many are places you once loved but might think twice about visiting again after today. Number 8, Taco Bell, 1,644 cases, and a hit to something even more important than price. I am starting today's list with a name that I have to say, just looking at these numbers is enough to kill my appetite. 1,644 people got sick. 94 people had to be hospitalized, and Taco Bell was right in the middle of it.
Part of the major outbreak to the shredded iceberg lettuce served at Taco Bell in some states, leading to more than 1,644 people sick, 94 people hospitalized across 5 states: Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, and West Virginia. Don't eat lettuce from Taco Bell in those states.
Then investigators started looking at what these people had eaten. One thing kept showing up: shredded iceberg lettuce served at Taco Bell locations in 5 states. Tracing that lettuce back through the supply chain, the FDA ended up at Taylor Farms de Mexico. On July 17th, the iceberg lettuce linked to the outbreak started being removed from the American market. And I want you to think like a regular customer for a second. You walk into Taco Bell because you are hungry. You're not standing at the counter asking, where was this lettuce grown? Who packed it? How many places did it pass through before it ended up in my food? Nobody does that. You are paying money, so you do not have to worry about those things. If you are over 60 taking medication every day or just picking up dinner for your family, I think you have even more reason to be upset. Fast food is supposed to take care of your hunger. It should not leave you staring at your meal wondering, is this safe? Cyclospora is an intestinal parasite. The most common symptom is diarrhea, and it can also cause stomach pain, nausea, and fatigue. Then came a situation that I found both funny and pretty frustrating.
I have never had Taco Bell in my entire life. I'm also an infectious disease epidemiologist, but let's go change that. I meant Taco Bell, not my job. I like my job. I meant let's go get Taco Bell.
A 45-year-old infectious disease epidemiologist who had never eaten Taco Bell in his life picked this exact moment to try Taco Bell for the first time. And now people are even putting Taco Bell lettuce on camera wearing gloves and taking it into a lab to examine it. Think about that. Lettuce used to be just a few pieces of greens you barely noticed. Now it has become something people feel like they need to inspect before eating. And Taco Bell is dealing with this at the exact same time. A lot of customers are already frustrated about something else: the price. Almost $19 for a small bag of Taco Bell. I understand that feeling. In your head, you can still remember when a whole car full of friends could pull in here, order a pile of food, and drive away without anybody worrying about the bill. Now, even one quick meal can make you stop and ask whether it is really worth it. That is the part that bothers me. Taco Bell used to win because it was cheap and easy. You got off work late, the whole family was hungry, you did not feel like cooking, so you pulled in, grabbed some food, and kept going. Now you have to look at the receipt once. After the lettuce outbreak, you have to look at the food one more time too. You are already feeling bad about the money, and now you have to be cautious about what you are eating. I do not know about you, but at that point, how much of that so-called convenience is really left? And unfortunately, Taco Bell still is not the most disappointing name on this list. The next one is even bigger, even more familiar, and this time their own CEO managed to turn a promotional stunt into a joke. Number 7, McDonald's, when the CEO himself makes the entire internet question his own burger. Look at the man holding this big arch. He is not some customer trying McDonald's for the first time. He is the CEO of McDonald's. And yet while holding the very burger his own company is promoting, he struggles with it so much that he actually says he does not know how he is supposed to start eating it. And people watching immediately started talking about it.
Yeah, give me 2 burger product, please. This man does not eat McDonald's. He looks like he would try and read the ingredients on the back of a banana.
It is funny, sure. But right when McDonald's wanted everyone paying attention to a new burger, customers were paying even more attention to something else: the price. In early August, Business Insider asked 227 readers about McDonald's, and about 57% rated the value they were getting as poor or very poor. I do not think you even need that survey to understand the feeling. All it takes is one trip into McDonald's looking at the prices and starting to wonder what you should order today so you do not walk away feeling like you wasted money. Want it cheaper? Open the app. Want a better deal? Check your reward points. Want to know which combo is actually worth it today? You have to look at your phone again and see which offers are still available. When did ordering a meal at McDonald's start requiring this many steps? If you are over 60 and your monthly budget already has to cover medicine, electricity, gas, and groceries, you're not going to McDonald's to play some coupon hunting game. You just want to look at the menu and know how much this lunch is going to take out of your wallet. But even McDonald's has had to rethink the way it handles value. Cutting back on some digital offers along with rolling out lower-priced options inconsistently has made a strategy that was supposed to make things easier to understand feel even more confusing. Put simply, good prices may still be there, but customers have to know where to look for them. And this is the part that bothers me. You are still buying fast food. You might have to place your own order at a kiosk, pick up your own food, and then clear your own tray. There is no table service, no premium experience, and nothing that makes you think you are paying more because you are getting more. And yet when you look at the bill, you can still find yourself stopping for a second and wondering, what exactly is that extra money buying me? That is why the CEO struggling with the big arch became more interesting than just an awkward promotional clip. McDonald's is trying to get customers excited about something new, while a lot of people just want something old to come back easy, ordering easy to understand prices and the ability to finish a meal without feeling like they just overpaid for fast food. A big arch might make people curious enough to try it once, but if every time you walk into McDonald's you have to open the app, figure out the deals, and decide whether the meal is still worth the money, then the problem is no longer the burger. McDonald's is turning something that is supposed to be simple into something customers have to think way too much about. So if McDonald's is frustrating people because a fast food meal now takes more and more calculation, then at number 6, the problem gets even more irritating. This is a place where plenty of customers used to be willing to pay more because they believed they would at least get an experience worth the extra money. And that belief is now starting to be tested. Number 6, Chick-fil-A, 11 years at the top have come to an end. After McDonald's, you might be thinking, fine, I will pay a little more and go to Chick-fil-A. At least it still feels worth the money, and that is exactly why so many people still choose it. Chick-fil-A never had to be the cheapest. Customers were willing to pay a little more because they believed the food was more consistent, the service was friendlier, and at least that extra money got them a better experience. But that feeling of getting your money's worth is being tested. Jeff Johnson, a dad with a family of 5, even came up with a little hack just to keep his Chick-fil-A bill under $45.
Okay, here's the thing, we're at Chick-fil-A. I have a hack for every dad who is always thinking, why are we spending so much money at Chick-fil-A? Kids are annoyed. Love it.
His method is pretty simple. Buy a larger order of nuggets, add some buns, and split everything up for the whole family instead of ordering separate combos for everyone. It sounds smart, but when you really think about it, it is kind of sad. This is still fast food. When did taking your family to Chick-fil-A start requiring a special trick just to make the bill hurt a little less? And when customers are already willing to pay more, they also start expecting more from what they get. A higher price is fine, but the food has to be consistent. The service has to be good. And when it comes to items people have loved for years, it is probably best not to change them in a way that makes customers think they got worse. The waffle fries are the clearest example. Chick-fil-A added pea starch to help the fries stay crispy longer. Customers did not like it. They complained that the taste and texture had changed, and in early 2026, the company had to remove that ingredient. If I am already paying more, at least, do not make me pay more for a version that I think is worse. Then in June, even the position Chick-fil-A had practically owned for more than a decade was gone. For 11 straight years, it ranked first in customer satisfaction among quick service restaurants. This year, Jersey Mike's moved ahead with a score of 84, while Chick-fil-A came in at 83, just 1 point. But for a brand that had been sitting at the top for 11 years, that 1 point is enough to remind them that customers do not owe you the number 1 spot forever. Jeff Johnson can still find ways to make a Chick-fil-A meal cheaper, but if more and more customers have to start doing the same kind of math, while the things that once made them willing to pay extra no longer feel as reliable as they used to, then the question becomes pretty simple: what exactly am I paying extra for? So Chick-fil-A is not a bad chain, but it reminds us of something very clear: charging more only works when customers still feel like it is worth it. And with Wendy's at number 5 price is exactly what is making customers angry. Number 5, Wendy's, when customers start worrying that prices could change right in front of them. Maybe you have stopped at Wendy's during your lunch break because everything needs to be quick. You have 20 minutes, you already know roughly how much you want to spend, so the last thing you want to be thinking is, if I show up half an hour later, will this still cost the same? Fast food is supposed to give us fewer things to think about. But one phrase from Wendy's suddenly had a lot of people worrying about exactly that. In 2024, while talking about new digital menu boards, Wendy's CEO mentioned the possibility of testing dynamic pricing. People immediately thought of Uber: the busier it gets, the more expensive it gets. The reaction was so intense that Wendy's had to come out and clarify that it had no plans to raise prices during the busiest hours, and that the new technology could instead be used to offer discounts during slower times. But the important part is not whether Wendy's was actually going to raise prices during peak hours. They said they were not. The important part is that the moment customers thought it might happen, they got angry. And I understand why. If you are living on retirement income or every month you have to divide your money between medicine, gas, electricity, and groceries, a few dollars is not something you just laugh off. You might accept an $8 burger or decide not to buy it, but at least you want to know it costs $8 before you walk in. You do not want lunch to start feeling like booking a plane ticket where you have to wonder what the real price is today at this particular time. Worse, 2 years later, Wendy's still has not escaped the value problem. In the second quarter of 2026, same-store sales in the United States fell about 7%, and the broader trend right now is pretty clear too. Offering more cheap deals is no longer enough if customers do not feel like the quality, convenience, and experience come with them. That is what Wendy's really needs to worry about. Customers do not just need low prices. They need to feel like they still have some control over how much they are about to spend. For someone who has to carefully manage every expense during the month, that predictability has value too. Wendy says it is not doing surge pricing, but the whole situation exposed a very real frustration. Americans have become so sensitive to fast food prices that just hearing that prices might become unpredictable is enough to set them off. And if Wendy's has people wondering what the price is going to be, then Subway at number 4 has them looking straight at the sandwich in front of them and asking, is this still worth what they are charging? Number 4, Subway, the free footlong reward turns into $2. You would think earning points is supposed to lead to a reward. The more often you come back and the more you buy, the better that reward should be. But with Subway, the very thing that gave customers a reason to keep coming back is the thing that got smaller. In late 2025, Subway brought back Sub Club. The deal sounded pretty appealing. Buy 3 qualifying footlongs or 6 6-inch sandwiches and you could earn a free footlong. That meant every time you bought something, you were not just paying for today's meal. You were also getting closer to a free meal next time. The problem is that in April 2026, the program changed. After many franchisees argued that the offer was too generous and was putting pressure on their stores, the reward was adjusted. 400 points now gets you about $2 in Subway cash. It might sound like just a few numbers changing in a loyalty program, but for someone who has already spent money coming back again and again, it feels very different. You thought you were saving up for a footlong. In the end, what you get back is only enough to knock a couple of dollars off the bill. And that is the trap with loyalty programs like this. When the reward is big enough, you have a reason to come back. But when it keeps getting smaller, you start doing the math. How much does a footlong cost today? What does $2 really save you? Is it even worth continuing to collect points? Especially if you're over 60 and every month you have to divide your money between medicine, gas, electricity, and groceries. Loyalty is not a game. You collect points because you want to know what a few purchases today might help you save next week. If the reward keeps changing, you lose that ability to plan ahead too. The irony is that Subway is still trying to bring customers back with value. Just a few weeks later, they rolled out another value menu with several items under $5. So they clearly understand what customers want: prices that are easy to understand, rewards that are clear, and the feeling that the money they spend actually gets them something. If you have ever saved up points only to find out the reward was no longer what you thought it would be, tell us about it in the comments. And before we move into the second half of the list, like the video if you also think small changes like this are not really small at all. Because Subway never tried to sell you the feeling that you were eating somewhere more upscale than fast food. The next name on the list practically built its entire brand around that exact promise. And as prices go up, that promise is starting to get looked at a whole lot more closely. Number 3, Panera Bread. The CEO himself admitted they cut costs in the wrong place. If you still think Panera costs more than fast food because at least you are getting something better, Panera itself has given us a reason to question that, because what they cut was not some meaningless decoration. It was right there in the food. When he was CFO, Paul Carbone approved changing the salads from 100% romaine to a mix of romaine and iceberg lettuce to save money. It does not sound that serious. Lettuce is lettuce, right? But that is exactly the kind of change customers notice the second that salad bowl lands in front of them. You are paying Panera prices, but the greens look more basic, cheaper, and no longer give you that feeling that you are eating something better than fast food. After becoming CEO, Carbone switched it back to 100% romaine, and I think that detail says a lot, because lettuce was not the only place Panera tried to save money. Over the years, they also cut restaurant staffing, trimmed down the menu, and changed things customers had gotten used to. Each change on its own might have made the cost sheet look better, but put them all together and they started taking away the very reasons people were willing to pay extra to eat at Panera. That is the real problem. If I am paying more than fast food prices for a bowl of soup and a salad, I do not need anything fancy. But I do need to look at my tray and feel like I am getting more than I would from a quick burger. When that feeling disappears, customers do not need to announce a boycott. They just stop coming as often. And now Panera has to invest again in the food, the value, and the people to bring customers back. You can save a few cents by taking away some of the things customers love, but when it comes time to win their trust back, the price is usually a whole lot higher. And if you think a few leaves of lettuce are enough to make a brand feel unfamiliar, the next name on the list lost something even bigger the restaurants an entire generation grew up with. Number 2, Pizza Hut 250 stores closing and an American icon put up for sale. 250 stores. That is how many underperforming Pizza Hut locations are planned to close in the United States in 2026. It sounds like a business number, but if you grew up with Pizza Hut, 250 stores are not just 250 addresses disappearing from the map. It could be that red roof you've seen for 20 years, the booth where your whole family used to squeeze in together, the pan pizza sitting in the middle of the table at a birthday party when nobody ever imagined this place might one day be gone. And this is the part that makes me worried about Pizza Hut. Americans have not stopped eating pizza. People still order pizza on Friday nights. Kids still love it. Families still need a quick dinner when nobody feels like cooking. Pizza is still here. It is just that Pizza Hut does not seem to need to be there as much anymore. Because what once made Pizza Hut different was not just the pizza, it gave you somewhere to go. You did not just grab a box and leave. You walked in, sat down, ordered drinks, waited for a hot pizza to come to the table, and spent an hour there with other people. But as more of those old-style restaurants disappear, Pizza Hut gets reduced to the exact same thing. Dozens of competitors can also give you a box sitting on your kitchen table. And if all that is left is the box, the question gets a lot more uncomfortable. Why does that box have to be Pizza Hut? That is something a coupon is not going to fix easily. A new menu item probably will not fix it either. Because once a family moves pizza night somewhere else a few times, they learn a new menu, download a new app, and find something the kids like at the new place. Then one day nobody says, "How about Pizza Hut tonight?" Not because they hate Pizza Hut, they just stop thinking about it. And for a brand that became part of an entire generation's memories, I think that is even scarier than a store closing. Pizza Hut still sells pizza, the logo is still there, the stores are still there, but a brand can keep existing long after the version customers once loved is already gone. And if you think that is already a big change, the final name on this list touches something even more sensitive. Not just a restaurant, not just a meal, but the feeling of an America that a lot of people believed would always be there. Number 1, Cracker Barrel, one logo change, 1 year trying to rebuild trust. I know this is the last name on the list, but Cracker Barrel is the one that made me think the most. Not because a burger suddenly cost a few dollars more or a rewards program got cut back, but because they touched something much harder to put a price on the feeling that there are still a few places in America that will always stay the same. Cracker Barrel has survived because of that feeling. You see the rocking chairs out front, the old country store, the old decorations covering the walls, the logo with the old man sitting next to the barrel. Maybe it is not modern, but that is the whole point. People do not go to Cracker Barrel looking for a restaurant that feels like the year 2030. They go because they want to recognize the place they have always known. Then Cracker Barrel tried to change it. The new logo removed the old timer, the new store designs were also brighter, cleaner, and more modern, and customers reacted so strongly that the company later admitted it had misstepped, brought the old logo back, and paused its remodeling experiments. Sounds like it is just about a logo and some interior design, right? But I think if we look at it that way, we are missing the most important part. Customers were not angry because a few lines in a drawing disappeared. They were angry because Cracker Barrel was changing the very thing they went there to find. If you are over 60, you probably understand this feeling better than anyone. You have watched malls, close diners disappear, and stores where you used to take your kids turn into something else. So sometimes a place that still has the old chairs, the old food, and the old feeling is worth more than people realize. And then in 2026, Cracker Barrel moved on to another CEO. The company announced that David Denno would succeed Julie Masino starting August 10th. I'm not saying that happened because of the logo, but there is something pretty ironic about it. A brand famous for feeling unchanged has gone through an awful lot of change in a very short time. I am ending this list with Cracker Barrel not because it is the worst. I am ending with it because it raises the hardest question a brand has to change to survive. But how much can it change before it is no longer the place customers once loved? And that is exactly what we need to look at next. Because these 8 names do not mean Americans have stopped eating out. Something else is changing in the way people decide which places are still worth their money, their time, and their loyalty. The big picture of the American restaurant industry in 2026. I have to emphasize this again, Americans have not stopped eating out, but the way they choose restaurants is changing very quickly. And if the big chains still think all they have to do is roll out another discounted combo, a new menu item, or a coupon in the app, and customers will come back like before, I think they are looking at the wrong problem. People still want pizza on Friday night. They still want a burger when they do not have time to cook. They still want to take the family out on the weekend. That demand has not disappeared. What is slowly disappearing is that kind of loyalty where people say, I still eat here because I have always eaten here. Now, customers are looking more closely. How much does this meal actually cost? Is the portion still big enough? Is the quality consistent? Do I have to download an app hunt for deals and collect points just to get a reasonable price? And most importantly, is the money I am spending actually getting me a meal that feels worth it? That is why value is no longer just about being cheap. A $15 meal can still make people happy to come back if the food tastes good. The portion is enough, the service is solid, and they know what they are going to get the next time they walk in. On the other hand, a combo marked down to $8 or $9 can still feel like a waste of money. If the food is inconsistent, the portion is small, the wait is long, or you have to solve a whole coupon puzzle just to get that price. And this is the part the big chains need to understand. Customers have other options. They can eat at home one more night, stop by a local restaurant, switch to another chain, or even pay more somewhere else if they feel like their money is being respected. So I do not think Americans are becoming cheap. They are just becoming harder to convince. Looking good is not enough. Being familiar is not enough. A big logo is not enough either. If prices go up, customers want to know what they are getting in return. From now on, every time a restaurant says it is bringing value back, I think we only need to ask 3 questions. What is the real price I have to pay? Is what I am getting actually worth that price? And if you take away all the coupons, apps, and advertising, would I still want to come back because a restaurant can survive an angry comment or a bad month of sales? What they should fear most is a long-time customer trying somewhere else, liking it better, and one day realizing they cannot even remember the last time they came back. After all of this, Americans are still spending money on meals away from home, but restaurant chains and customers seem to be having a harder and harder time agreeing on one very simple question: how much should a meal actually be worth today? Businesses can keep trying new menus, new technology, and new ways to sell, but the final decision still belongs to the person standing at the counter, looking at the food, looking at the bill, and asking whether they will still want to come back next time. And maybe that is the clearest test of all. Not which restaurant is the busiest today, but which name still makes customers want to come back next month. What about you? Which restaurant chain used to feel like a great value but has now made you stop going back? Share the most unbelievable bill you have seen below. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.